Good morning, good morning. I'm Reverend Karen Einhaus. I'm the spiritual leader of this community, and I am feeling so many different energies in this room. Can you feel it? I feel people wondering in what time zone they are in. And I feel people who know exactly what time zone they're in. So welcome, welcome to those beloveds who came this morning, just returning from the NVC spiritual travel to Bali. So welcome, welcome here in the sanctuary online. Welcome, welcome, yes. And while we're at it, I think let's go ahead and send some extra love to Jolene Bainey. She and Rick are on their way back from Bali. She put together an incredible, incredible retreat. And for those of you who have ever taken 28 people internationally, you know, that is quite the undertaking. So let's just take some love and send it right to Jolene, wherever she is right now, and Rick, and that knowing that that travel continues with ease and grace. Here we are, here we are. It is a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm so glad to be here. And I thought we would start preparing ourselves, being very gentle with ourselves by coming fully into this place. The talk today has been, it's the outpouring of quite the ride I had this week. And so I want to take a moment and allow all of us to really center in here, to come fully present, to allow whatever has been on our minds to take a back seat and just connect with the divine, connect with your own higher self, true self, the place within where you know that you are of the divine. And then I'm going to invite you to look around and see who's on this journey with you. We don't need to get up, but you can just look around, give a wave. I'll extend my arms to all of the beloveds online. Just see who is here. I find that this is what instills trust, because we are on a journey. Our annual theme is every path leads home, and we're really focusing on that path part of that statement and the understanding that all of these journeys that we are on are not always the, oh, I'm here, I want to go there, watch me. Ta-da! No. Sometimes it looks like I'm here, I know I want to be there, and it looks quite different, and we get pummeled a little bit on the way. Anybody? Anybody? Yes. Yeah, 2 hands up. And I want everybody to know, if this is your first time here in the sanctuary, first time online, if you're new to this teaching, if you're still trying to wrap your arms around it, what this teaching is all about, I want you to know that that is normal. That is the experience when we open up to a greater living, when we open up to a truer, more authentic living. We get in contact with things that want to be released and that want to be deepened into, and it's sometimes messy. And that's why it is so important to have a spiritual community, a place, a spiritual family where you know whatever happens, you can come and be who you are. And even if you're not 100% sure, is this really who I am? This is the place to try it out, to find a partner, a prayer partner, some accountability partner, somebody that you resonate with and say, hey, I am in a growth spurt. I am doing some things differently. Will you hold me in that space? Our practitioners are trained to do that. But I jump ahead, so let's start at the beginning. This week, in the preparation for my talk, I was reminded of that saying by William Blake, the 18th century poet, who said, "I dare not pretend to be any other than the secretary. The authors are in the divine." And that's how it felt this week. I had a very different talk prepared, and there was this constant, obnoxious at times, pounding from over here that really caused me to dig deeper into this idea of caring for our soul. Caring for our soul. And I followed the breadcrumbs. Have you ever had that experience? You read something, and then you're like, what do they mean by that? And then you go deeper and deeper. And I found myself reading a lot of what are called romantic, rebellious historic figures from about 17 to 1800s. My sister in Germany, I will have to have a talk with her. She gave me a book this thick. It's called the Rebellion Romantica des 18. Jahrhunderts. So it's all in German, and it is written in a way that pulls me deeper and deeper, and it is all about, it's just about one decade in Germany where all these masterminds came together who had a very different idea of living than what was common. At that time, the landowners, the royalty of Germany, owned everybody who lived on their land. A couple hundred years ago. And that's what's the way it was. And then the French Revolution, the American Revolution happens, and there's this wave of newness and the discovery of the I am, I am not just property of some landowner where I happen to be born. I am. And it is so fascinating to me how this wave of newness comes throughout Germany. And of course, in the first chapter, it's in the foreword, she is referencing that this happened in America too. It was Emerson, and it was the transcendentalists in, Thoreau that discovered a different way of being. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read rebels and their lives and what happened in them, I get excited. I get so excited. And it brought me back, all the way back to Socrates, who lived 399 years before the Common Era. And he was a rebel. Did you know that? As a matter of fact, he was accused that he corrupted the youth of Athens of impiety and heresy. And he famously said in his defense, "I do nothing other than urge young and old to care not just for their person and property, but more so for the well-being of their soul." That is what he was really guilty of. Now, if we place ourselves for a moment in the time, if we just use our imagination, there was a very rigid way of living, and stepping out of that and claiming that each beloved has a soul of which they are invited to care for. No wonder they threw him in jail, right? So this had my attention all week long. And Socrates is well known for having developed the Socratic method of asking questions. He did not lecture so much as that he gathered his students around him and he would teach them to ask questions. To ask questions, to go deeper and deeper. And so I have some questions that I asked myself this week. How can I care for my soul? How can I take care of that very deep part of me? What does it take? Do I have what it takes to live an authentic life, to allow the deepest part of me to be shown into the world? And I bring these questions to you today. I invite you to ask yourself, am I living what my soul is asking me to do? Now here's a little spoiler alert for those of you who like to start a book and then go to the last page and see how it ends. At the end of this talk, I want to make sure that we all understand that this invitation to listen to our soul comes with a lot of change. It comes with a lot of transformation. Now, this is probably not new news to you because you are coming to a place that teaches the science of mind, that teaches that if we change our thinking, we will change our lives. And yet, it always baffles me when that change happens in people's lives and they say, well, I didn't want this change. I wanted this change. Let's breathe into that. Because what I also know, beloveds, when we are in the middle of that change, it doesn't feel good. It behooves us to have an anchor, something that we can hold on to, something that we know, that we know, that we know. And that is why we so often talk about spiritual practice. Going to our prayer chair or our prayer sofa or our prayer bed or wherever we feel that place where we are connecting to the divine. Well, when we have that routine established and something happens, if it is caused because we said, I'm ready for something new, or if life just happened. When we have that routine established, it can support us through the rough times. So we will be very gentle with ourselves, yes? As we are cultivating this depth through compassion. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about how Socrates defines the soul versus spirit. You often hear us talk about that there's a place within us that is of the divine, that is that spiritual part within us. I've been really deepening into the fact that they are very, very close together, and yet there is a distinction. And I would like to share this with you. So soul, that part of us where we have deep relationships, it is the depth of our feelings. It is where we have that sense of being home. If it is in a physical home or if it is in the spiritual idea of homecoming, all of those are aspects of our soul. And it's even deep relationships we have with objects, things that are important to us. The ring our grandmother wore, a little gift that somebody gave us, a memento. All of those things are part of our soul, where spirit, on the other hand, is that which moves us ahead. It's the big picture. It is what turns us towards the cosmos, the universe, the allness of life. So soul is the individual part, is how we reenact the nature of the divine, and then spirit is really the allness of life. Spirit expands our hearts and minds. It gives us vision. It gives us courage. And eventually it provides us with a strong sense of meaning and purpose. And then the soul is the more intimate, deep, and concrete part of us. It is how we are keeping house. It is how we maybe cook for a beloved, play sports, cuddle with our dog, be around children, be in nature. It is the part that I feel it like it opens me up to the spirit. It's almost like the deeper I can lean into my soul, the wider it is open to welcome all that is beyond my imagination even. Now, we all know how it feels when we are in harmony with our soul's development, right? Life is just moving along perfectly, all is smooth. We, we're just playing with our dog, we are aware, we are having a conversation, a deep conversation with the beloved, we're making love, we are in nature going for a walk, we feel connected. And then there comes the impetus for something more. Now, Emerson says that our soul does not develop on a continuous line. It doesn't just grow continuously, but rather it grows in stages. Similar to how the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. I don't think when the caterpillar is just going along, he's thinking, oh, in 2 weeks, I'm going to go and have that transformation. No, it's just moving along, and then something comes from inside and causes this transformation. And I do believe that I'm with Emerson on that. Something happens in the inner, in the outer, that all of a sudden it feels like we need to remove something, expand somewhere to be able to breathe, to live more fully. And so, caring for our soul then, I believe, helps us to smooth out that process, to even understand it. I don't know if you have had times in your lives where that impetus for something new, for breaking free came, and you said, what the heck? I know I have. I couldn't even understand, where's this coming from? And yet, when I look at it as my soul is ready to expand, to take the next step on this ever upward spiral of an experience, it makes sense. And I can be gentle with myself. One important point that I want to make is that we are not invited to evaluate somebody else's journey. Oh, over there, I don't think you are listening to your soul there. No. It reminds me of this story that Heinrich Böll actually wrote in 1963. He's a German author. And he wrote this story for the 1st of May, which is Labor Day, the day of work in Germany. And he wrote it at a time where there was an incredible boom in Germany. It was 1963. It was, everybody was interested in having work, and there was so much work, and there was so much growth and expansion. And he writes this essay questioning the validity of work in Germany. I don't know if you understand how big that is, but let me tell you, that's a big thing. So here's how the story goes. A very well-dressed tourist is in a harbor taking pictures of this beautiful scenery when he is noticing that a fisherman is just laying in his fishing boat and he's taking a nap. It's still pretty early in the morning. So he goes over and he asks him what he is doing. Told you, a German wrote this story, right? What are you doing? Why are you here and not out fishing? And the fisherman said, well, I went out this morning and I caught enough fish for the next couple of days, so I'm taking a nap and I'm enjoying this day. And the tourist says, well, you know, if you would go out again, maybe 2 more times today, you would have more fish. And maybe if you continuously do that within a year, you could buy a motor for your boat. And then if you continue to do that, you could, you know, perhaps have a cooling station here or open a restaurant right over there. Or then even if you continue to do this, you could get yourself a plane or a helicopter and sell lobster right to Paris, cutting out the middlemen. You could have another entire empire. And the fisherman said, and then? And the tourist said, well, then you could be here without a care in the world and enjoy this view and perhaps take a nap. Which, of course, the fisherman said, well, I'm already doing that. And the tourist walked away feeling no pity for the fisherman, but a little envy. That is caring for our soul. That is honoring and really noticing the path wherever it takes us, and not always be so focused on the end goal, but to enjoy this breath, this moment. Now back to our Socrates questions. How do we do this? How do we bring soul into not only our own lives, but into our families, into our work, into our communities? What are some of the ways? And if you have a Keep Me sheet, and at home we are having a link and we have it on the slide, there are a few points of what a soul needs. And I wanted to share these, and I wanted to make them available for you, but I'm not going to spend so much time on it, because what my soul needs is very different than what your soul needs to be fully present in your life. And yet there are some ideas. A sense of home, deep friendship and casual friendliness, the awareness of being connected at all times, an appreciation for words and images, fine art, beautiful things. Notice your dreams. Oh my goodness, there are a couple people in the sanctuary, I will not point them out, who showed up in my dreams this week. Mark, Arnold. Funny stuff. It happens. I was surprised how much more I remember my dreams. This intimate relationship with nature, I think that is so important. It's a little bit more challenging for us here in Arizona, especially now we have summertime here, so we spend most of our time indoors. But we had a bunch of people who just had a great experience with the outdoors, with nature, in a very, very exotic environment. And I think we have a picture of them. Look at that. Look at those beloveds. That is the group that was in Bali, yes. I just love that picture. And I am sure, and we have several people here who are back from Bali, if you want to ask them how their experience of the nature was. Because from the posts on Facebook and the texts and the emails, it felt like it opened their hearts. It opened their hearts to let in something very different, something that has a rhythm, right? And back to our list, memories, so important to create a structure, a family structure, a community structure that is filled with storytelling, with what is important. You know, take New Vision Center. We love to tell stories of how it is, how it was, what happened here, the incredible synchronicity that made us end up here on this campus. Because we feel that it is an example of when you make space in your life, in your work life, in your personal life, in your community life, for soul to enter, things work out even better than we could have imagined. So we have talked about what soul is, a little bit of the shadow side that comes with it, that will introduce us to things that we might have not attended to before. When we say yes to a deeper life, they have a tendency to come up. One of the things that I just read on Facebook a couple of days ago, I wanted to share here because I think it speaks to the possibility of living this way. Chris Crowley, who wrote Younger Next Year, said this: "Forget retiring to an easy share with a remote. Work hard at the rest of your life, but do it in your own way. Get into good shape, then go out and take some chances. Get to know new people, work hard at relationships, and get involved in your community or some projects. You will take wrong turns and hit some potholes, but you will also have great adventures." You will also have great adventures. And isn't that what we have signed up for? Going on great adventures. All the rebels that I read this week, they were full of it. They wanted it. They wanted something different. They wanted something more. And they were willing at times, many a times, to put their life on the line. My question is, are you willing to put your life, those parts of your life that you would like to let go of, are you willing to put them on the line? Are you willing to explore something? Perhaps set yourself a time frame. Say, okay, for the rest of the year, I am going to go for it. I am just going to fully attempt to let go of the things that I complain about and rather create something new. We are here, the practitioners, the ministers, this community is welcoming everyone into supporting you on your journey, however that may look. I think that the time is now and the place is here, and our very last slide there from St. Augustine says it this way: take care of your body as if you were going to live forever, and take care of your soul as if you are going to die tomorrow. Beloveds, the time is now. If you want to change something in your life, we only have this now moment. Right here, right now. I am so glad we are on this adventure together, on this journey. I love sharing and being involved in your lives and to walk together. Thank you. And with that, we are going to go ahead and anchor this in prayer. We have a very special treat today. After I am speaking this prayer, Reverend Leslie is actually going to take us into a chant that is absolutely beautiful. And so we prepare ourselves. We allow our eyes to close. We allow ourselves to feel right there where we are, this now moment, this place, our soul, the calmness, the peace, the harmony, the love that is the divine expressing through us. How grateful I am to be right here, engaged in exactly this activity, allowing the goodness of life, the eternal loving kindness, the eternal grace to be known by all who are within the sound of my voice. I know for every prayer request that has been placed into our prayer box, every prayer request that has been placed on our Ministry of Prayer on the website or called in, I know that all of these requests are calls from the divine to know even more, to express even more of life itself. And so I say yes. I say yes to the joys, I say yes to the challenge, I say yes to the sorrow, and I say yes to the messiness. I say yes to life, to an ever greater expression of it. And so with a grateful heart, with so much love, I simply call this time together good. I call this prayer complete. I place it into universal law. I let it be. And so it is.